The Spellbinder is a magic-based class with some melee capabilities that can just pump out chaos magic. You can see we've got tentacles, we've got our beams, we can stay from afar and just pick enemies off, and we can just absolutely melt them just like that. It is a very powerful class in the game, and it is amazing for just passive damage like this. So let's check the build out. Okay, let's start off our skill tree, and here it is in all its glory. So, to begin this, we are going to go left, and we're going to take the knowledge, the knowledge, the knowledge, into inspiration. So casting a chaos spell has an 8% chance to grant you 1 stack of free cast. This chance is increased, as I pressed the wrong button. This chance is increased by 0.1% for each percentage of your missing mana. Free cast makes your next spell cost no mana. Channel spells become free for the first 2 seconds instead, and this is huge for your Chaos Beam. Once you've got that locked down, I would recommend going to the right, taking the power nodes here. This will boost your damage, especially with your spells and depending on your weapon. For example, as you can see here, my weapon and spells get boosted by my power, meaning I've just got to focus on this one offensive node. So take these until you get to cripple. Increase your weakness chance by 5%. The slow of your weakness effect is increased by 40%. As you can see, in total we do have a 36% weakness chance. From here I would recommend coming up for 2 to get the offensive node, pick up the knowledge as well, and then to the right for power, into vigor because we need a bit more stamina. As you can see, our equipment load is 99%, and then south for shadow melt. Your chaos damage deals an additional 5% as fire damage. Your fire damage deals an additional 5% as chaos, so very interchangeable. This and the Flame Weaver you can really multi-class into something awesome. Once you've got this locked down, I would recommend coming back into the middle, coming up for the Constitution, around for the power, the knowledge, the power, the Constitution, and then south for Chaotic Remnants. So certain actions have a chance to create a Chaotic Remnant nearby, which grants 1 of 3 bonuses when picked up. Remnants can grant you a Relic Charge, Restore Mana, or give you a Damage Absorption Shield, and this is very clutch when you need it to be. From here we are going to come up, we're going to come to the right to take the offensive node, put a power in here, up for the knowledge, into Chaotic Rejuvenation. So applying weakness to an enemy restores 5% mana, again huge. The more mana we have, the more we can do our Chaos Beam, the more spells we can pump out. It's just incredible. Once you've got that, come back to the middle, go left for your Vitality node, for your knowledge, into Power Vacuum. Each point of mana spent increases your magic damage dealt by 0.1% up to a maximum of 25%. And obviously, this means the longer you do Chaos Beam, the more damage it deals. Once you have these, I would recommend coming back down to the middle. We're going to go along this tree. So take the Endurance, the Power, take the Offensive node and put a Power in here. The Endurance, Power, into the Vigor, and south for Unstable Trial. Evading leaves a shadowy mark on the ground for 10 seconds. The mark explodes on contact with enemies, dealing 191 damage in a small radius. Really key ability. Once you got this, I would recommend coming back up into the middle here, go up for the defensive node and put a vigor in here, and then we're going to go right for 3 to collect 3 power, into the defensive node, again put a vigor in here, and up for the power, and then up again for infliction catalyst. Your spells deal 5% more damage for each status effect affecting the target. When an enemy dies, all active status effects on them are transferred to a nearby enemy. Awesome ability for spreading your weakness around. Once you have this, come left for power, into the defensive node and put a Constitution in here, down for knowledge, into vigor, and up for Motes of Chaos. Certain actions in combat have a chance to create a chaotic mote that orbits around you, applying a weakness effect, causing all motes to fly into the target, dealing 191 damage each. You can have 10 motes at once. Once you've got this, follow this around for knowledge, into the Vitality node and put a Constitution in here, to the left for power, left once more for power into Chaos Tentacles, and this is what you would have seen at the start of this video. Casting a Chaos spell has a 20% chance to spawn those tentacles on the nearest enemy. Tentacles will pull the enemy in, but more importantly, deals 260 damage. Once you have this, we are going to come over here, back to where we had Infliction Catalyst, and we're going to come along for the power, the Constitution, and up for Unstable Burst. Inflicting weakness to an enemy already afflicted by weakness creates an explosion around them, causing almost 260 damage, so you can just cause enemies to explode now. From here we're going to come south for the knowledge, the power into the offensive node, put power in here, and then Shadow Burn. Your weakness effects also amplify the target's fire damage taken. Applying a weakness or burn effect has a 10% chance to also apply the other. An awesome way of getting weakness and burn at the same time. Once you have this, we are going to come back down here, over to where we have the tentacles, and we're going to come south for the Vitality node and put a Constitution in here, the power, the endurance, and then Nether Walk. When taking damage that would leave you below 30% of your maximum health, the damage will reduce by 100% and become immaterial for 3 seconds, granting you immunity to incoming damage. From there, back to here where that power node was, come left for one more power, and then another power, and then finally up for critical battery. Dealing chaos damage increases your magic crit chance by 1%. Dealing magic critical damage resets this effect, so it's a nice way to boost your crit chance and land those crits. Once you have that, obviously fill in the rest of the nodes you can see here, any pathings such as the power nodes here, the knowledge down here as well as the knowledges here. Now when it comes to your bigger nodes like this, fill them with Constitution and power for whatever is left over. And if you need to put a Vigor in here at some point, please do so. You want to keep this under 100%, you can see we're on the cusp at 99, but that's really key to allow you to basically be able to allow you to wear as much heavy armour as possible. Now this will give you a +2 bonus to armour, great for defense. But these offensive nodes, what is awesome about these, if I can find a full one, such as here, a 1% weakness chance, hence we can boost that weakness chance up. The more weakness chance we have, the more burn we can also apply, and it's a never ending cycle. Now let's go over our equipment. For our sword, we are using the Blade of Despair. I really like this because it's 10% magical crit chance and 25% critical damage. I've also put a rune on this for 10% extra physical damage. In my relic hand, I'm using Disordance, 75% mana, but more importantly, 11% weakness chance. For equipment, the Draconic Initiate Breastplate, 25 armor, 5 strength, 5 constitution, 14 defense, thanks to a enchantment for 8+ defense. Really nice way of just tanking us up, because we are very squishy. For a hat, we're using Devant's hat, 1 armor, 5 knowledge, more importantly, 10% weakness chance, and again we've put a relic for 8 defense on it. For gauntlets, we're using the 5-plate gauntlets, 6 armor, 4 defense, 80 health. The 5-plate leggings, 25 armor, 5 power, 6 defense, and 5 vigor. And then the feathered cloak. This is super important for the 20% equipment load. When it comes to rings, we're using the Champion's Grace, reduces the weight of all our equipment besides our weapon. The Signet of Magic for that 10% extra chaos damage. The Weakening Stone Ring for 7% weakness chance. And the Ring of Energy for 20 extra stamina. Now when it comes to your skills, the tool we are mostly using is Chaos Beam. You can see my Chaos Beam does almost 500 damage per second. And we fully upgraded this. So we've taken the upgrade that each time the beam deals damage, it has a 2% chance to deal an additional 300% damage as fire. And again, if you have this applied with the weakness, where weakness causes extra fire damage, you can really get this going. We take an upgrade 2, so the damage of the beam increases by 50% over 5 seconds, awesome in boss fights. And then upgrade 3, the beam can pierce through enemies affected by weakness, each subsequent target takes 20% reduced damage. This is awesome for clearing out mobs. The other ability we are taking is the Splintering Sparks. So open a set of rifts in the air for 8 seconds, which fire chaotic sparks at nearby enemies, dealing 70 damage with each hit. Each rift can fire up to 3 sparks. We've taken the first upgrade, so increases the sparks critical chance by 10% and the critical damage by 25%. We take an upgrade 2, increase the number of sparks each rift can fire by 3 to 4, which is why, if we come here, you'll see we have a bunch extra to hit, and you can keep casting this like that. And then alongside that we are taking upgrade 3. The sparks do an additional 15% damage in a random magic element, really ties that chaos theme together. Okay, so let's look at this in test again, and you can see our chaos beam does a bunch of damage, causes the burn. We can get our relics going like this, that will shoot the darts, and you can see the damage they do. It's just an awesome way of just pumping out maximum damage. Again, keep that Chaos Beam going to cause as much damage as possible the longer you hold it. And then even against the more tanky enemies, if we come over this way, such as the dude with the shield, you'll see we do a lot of damage to him, and you see the explosions there. So all of these abilities tie together. We also have the ability, if we do this, you can see we can shock everyone. We caused the explosion, we went our beam through because we caused the weakness. There are just so many awesome abilities we can do here. We can absolutely just melt enemies. And we still have the melee capabilities like that. And if we roll through the enemy, you can see we've got the tentacles appearing. It's just such an enemy melter, and it's awesome on bosses. So I hope you've enjoyed this build for Mandragora. If you have, please drop the episode a like, it helps me tremendously, and let me know what you think about the game. If you're not already as well, please subscribe to the channel for more. I've got more guides to Baldur's Gate, to Elden Ring, to Dragon Age, to Mandragora, Oblivion, Expedition 33, Wu Chang, basically all the amazing RPGs you could ever need. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.